going to jump on here just in case anybody want to show
MV3
up.
Trader Journal set journal entry. Going to be my last trade of the day. Another quick scalper above VWAP with a PA trigger to close the position. Could have held it for a few more ticks in.
All right, so that was a nice little entry in two. All right, so we got some order flow down here off that. What is that? What is that? Can't see this morning. 329 zone. I wanted to just jump in on the futures radio this morning to see it's recorded. I wanted to focus before I jumped on futures radio this morning, selfishly but necessary. Making sure that I focused on the things that I studied over the weekend. All right, so we are still seeing a response. That time we kind of front ran that balance level. So just a quick little recap of what I witnessed in the last couple of minutes. Price, we had a little bit of supply take us down to the 619 balance level, but we got an immediate response back into a couple of my zones into the PR low. Well, we also saw a response off the PR low, so we're kind of just keeping that, kind of just holding price between that balance level and my PR low. Nothing mechanical right here other than just structure, which is what my zones are built off of, and balance. So watching the order flow, I don't have anything to react to until just now, as I said that, but I'm not getting the follow through price that I'll be looking for in order to react if I was reacting. So I'm not trading today. I'm just at this point, well, I'm not trading anymore today. So there was the price action that to follow the order flow that I just saw, that I just witnessed. Let's see if we can make it back. So we just popped above the PR low, looking to make it a VWAP, but we do have some selling front run there before the VWAP. The VWAP has so far in this session acted as a point of an area where we have seen a response, mostly long. We haven't really tested it to the short side yet. Into the VWAP. Let's see if we get a response. And we do get a response slightly above the VWAP. Will we also have some mechanics? That last 1 minute candlestick did print as a momentum candle. So we did hit our head against some mechanics. So let's see if we get some follow through. Price is stalling right up here. Could print out as a continuation momentum, but as I say that, our continuation breakout. But our inside pair, that's the word I'm looking for, as a continuation inside pair. But as I say that, price is breaking down, so that is no longer a thing. Back into the PR low, getting a response off the PR low. Right there where we have a structural zone. So that kind of did print as an inside pair. Now we look at order flow. Order flow is reading as supply at the current, within this current moment. We'll be watching below 327 to see how much supply this would actually be. If this is real supply, or are we just moving price back and forth, building up inventory. And interestingly, we are still not necessarily allowing much selling in this market. Our wholesale is still keeping this price up. All right, so into a zone that printed for a pause there into that zone, and now I'm watching order flow one more time. I wouldn't have anything to trigger me to a response yet. Still watching the level that I mentioned before, but we are holding price up here. But on insignificant order flow at the moment. And if I can think of how I want to say that. Usually when I say something, the opposite plays out. Alright, so we are getting a break below that. Again, some front run of that balance level. Our buyer is still interested down here, but I'm not really seeing what I want to see in terms of order flow to indicate us for any real movement. Back into resistance or any real. Okay, so now I've got some order flow that can be an indicator of some momentum. That's the word I was looking for earlier. So they are kind of taking price slowly higher here. I'm not getting the kind of price action that I would like to see. For them to, for us to get any indication that they're trying to take this price much higher than the mechanics that we just witnessed a response off of. Once again, so now we're closing the window, and eventually we will break out of this. We're just kind of holding price right here in this window, slowly closing the window. I'll be looking for a full close of the window. I'll be looking for a break above that, above or below. Really, no, above that 958 1 minute candle and below the balance level of 619 for another significant move. Until we get up there, I wouldn't be looking to be a participant. Until one of those plays out, I wouldn't be looking to be a participant with the way that they're trading this. I'm not a fan of this price action in terms of being a participant inside of this price action. For me, when we're closing the window, I like to step back and not be, an active participant in that. So another inside candlestick pair. Doesn't really tell us any real information as of yet. Making a quick little push. Got the order flow to give a push back to 619 to that balance level. Now we're attempting to break it below the balance level again, but we're seeing a response there. Let's see how big our buyer's hand can be here. And I'm seeing a response in order flow as what with that matches this price action. Still nothing for me that would indicate for me if I was trading this to go long. And that's just me personally, by the way that I read the market, of course, and my strategy and plan. Unless I was being aggressive off that balance level and I would have had to, right there where price was pausing, I would have had to be a quick participant, keeping most of the focus on risk. I would say about 90% of the focus on risk and just letting it play out. All right, so we did get the order flow that is matching this price action that I'm seeing, or this push higher that I'm seeing with the kind of momentum that I would like to take if I had not already decided to be done for the day. So that would have been a nice little trade to take there. It happened quickly. Back to VWAP, getting a little momentum, pushing through VWAP into that high, and we're getting a slight response at that high that I mentioned earlier, and making a quick attempt to push higher with the response of resistance. Next zone I'm looking at for a response above that would be the zone that we just entered. and we're pushing right through that. So now we got some. So that right there confirms that this is wholesale price action. They took us down right above that VWAP, built up there. Not above the VWAP, right above that balance level, built up some inventory to sell it off at higher prices, got rid of it real quick, and now pushing it, bringing us right back inside the zone. We have much more supply, is what I'm seeing so far in this in the market so far than we do inventory. And so they're just getting quick inventory, letting it go, and then we don't have enough buy interest up here for us to really make a significant move as of yet. I think I'm going to post this one to YouTube because it's been a while since I posted anything to YouTube as a Futures Radio sneak peek or something like that. Futures Radio replay. So I can post that later on today. Don't know if I'm going to make any edits or not. I may just give it raw and unfiltered from the time that I turned on Futures Radio. Alright, so we are getting a response off that previous resistance there. Let's see, but I'm not confirming that. I have not confirmed that. Well, I would not confirm that by the way this is printing as new support. We are getting a buy response off the VWAP. Now I'm watching order flow. Still not the kind of order flow that will make me a buyer in this. Order flow starting to build in the right direction. That did print as an inside pair. Now we got a decent order flow. Let's see if we get the price response. And right here, I would need the price response more so than the order flow. Just the order flow supports the price response that I'll be looking for if I'll be looking to take this as a participant, as a buyer. We did not get it, so I'm still hands off the trigger. And all of this is hypothetical speaking because, as I said before, I am not actively participating anymore within this session. I have already made my trades for the day. Now I'm just watching, gaining experience, building on the skill set. Alright, so watching again for order flow and the price response that I would need to be a buyer here, or that I would like to see to be a buyer. There's no necessity of anything to be a buyer. It's just, it all depends on what you like to see according to your plan, which houses your strategy. Alright, so we did trade back into that zone, but we do see some buy responses here. So not a whole lot of supply taking us back into the zone. Could be some more accumulation from wholesale, which I do actually need. I was thinking about how I would break down wholesale in my language last night, but I still haven't actually taken it further than I thought. Alright, so we're back into a zone, back to our PR low. Now, keeping in mind, we do have VWAP right above us with some mechanics. There's order flow. Do we get the response against mechanics? Again, this would be an area that I wouldn't be so aggressive in because of there's so much so many mechanical things to look at from both sides of this. So I would be a watcher here, even though we are slowly pushing through that. Could have been a decent zone-to-zone play there. That printed as another somewhat inside, which Again, I would need to see my order flow in conjunction with the price action, which is not happening at all. Back into that zone above PR low, which is also being accompanied by some mechanics. And just for YouTube, since I haven't posted anything in a long time, I've been talking about the mechanics on Futures Radio last week, but the mechanics is just mechanical indicators that I watch. I did mention also last week that I'm not putting a whole lot of, I'm not mentioning the indicators because at the end of the day, the specific indicator doesn't matter. So if you're, we'll probably make another video on this later, but if you're looking for an indicator to use, it just depends on which indicator gives you the best mechanical response for what it is that you're trading. So, you know, a lot of people have their, you know, specific indicators, whether that's a simple moving average or exponential moving average, or it's the Keltner channel, or it's the RSI, or we want to take it down to our, what do people call it? Oh, well, that was RSI, or what I meant to say before that was the Bollinger Bands, which is some of the most popular ones, are the VWAP. The VWAP is the only one that I kind of mentioned specifically because a lot of institutions and size participants, they use the VWAP in some sort of way to make some sort of decisions, or just to make some sort of read on the market and on the price. But other than the VWAP, it's just about finding what kind of mechanical response that gives, you know, that works for whatever it is that you're trading. So I'm just gonna let that, I'm gonna sit that right there. Let you do with it whatever you decide to do with that. All right, so price is really not doing much of anything right now. Good price action for some popcorn eyes. Nothing for me to really respond to there between price action and order flow. Also, with looking at how this is trading structurally. Gonna do about a couple more minutes of Futures Radio, and then we're gonna end the session for the day. I would like to see how we eventually close this window. They have extended closing this window for a while. We did kind of jump into another window. So I mean, this is kind of a small zone on top of another, or a small range on top of another small range. The way that I'm reading this, here we got a potential to break higher here. We do have order flow. The kind of order flow that I would personally like to see, but I am getting some indicators that we could be pushing back within that range. Which I will be an observer of this only for a few more minutes if nothing exciting happens. Let me say that one more time. I will be an observer of this only for a couple more minutes if nothing exciting happens. Got a little cotton mouth there. So back into that zone. Not getting the kind of order flow that I would like to see to be a participant. There, finally, it did come in, but I'm not getting the price response that I want to see. Although that I don't have any real signals up here anyway. Just verbalizing what I'm witnessing. So they are continuing to hold us within the zone. Back into the mechanics. The VWAP this morning also sort of serving as some mechanics. Quick price response off the mechanics. Back into that zone where around the VWAP. Into VWAP where they're just playing with, I was going to say they're just playing with price, but we're just collecting more inventory here. I'm still saying this is mostly wholesale. There's no real supply in this market where they will remove their hand and just let this thing sell off. So our wholesale is still actively participating up here, keeping price up, and not really. It'd be interesting to see how they eventually let supply fall out of this market. All right, so I want to see this response here as we continue to or slowly make our way back to what has been serving as a supply zone around 352. Push into that zone. Another sell response up there. So I am kind of watching that zone right there as a area to see where wholesale will be looking to take prices if they want to go ahead and allow price to be, or they see enough buy participation in there in the market to make their pay off the spread. Back into the VWAP, getting a quick response there. Still reading this as inventory collection. The longer we hold this range, the more short it looks to me. That's a personal read. However, I am not discounting the potential for them to allow this to trade higher or to move price higher. But I am kind of seeing this as a potential to trap some buyers. And I also do see some mechanics that are serving as how do I want to word that? But it's in conjunction with the supply zone that I have marked off here. So it's serving as a point of interest for some selling in that supply zone above 352. Back to VWAP. Now we're pushing with a little bit of strength below VWAP. I know I did say I was going to only watch for a couple more minutes, but I'm really interested to see how we break out of this range. Once again, a response long off the mechanics. Appearing to be our wholesale purchasing more inventory. That is somewhat of a reversal trigger there. And we finally got order flow to kind of match it, pushing us into that, what I was calling a supply zone. And we finally break above it, and do we hold? So that right there does confirm to me that the range that they just held us in was at about a solid 10 minutes or more. That range was wholesale, just collecting inventory, and now they're selling it off back to new buy participants. But again, we don't have a whole lot of inventory to keep pushing us higher with much strength. It'll be interesting to see where it goes from here. It could continue trading higher. They could continue moving this price higher, but I am still seeing some sell response from the 3-minute mechanics. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and turn off futures radio for the day. Hope everybody have a good one. I more than likely will post this to YouTube later. So everybody watching on YouTube, appreciate you coming through and watching. See you on the next one. Trade it easy. Tune in live to Futures Trade Radio by joining the ME3 Trade Engineers Discord, link in the description below.